Hello and thank you once again for finding your way to my channel, Travels with Bob LLC, the most non-informational cruise channel on the web today. Oh, I kid. Today, I've been off track just a little bit. Gonna get back to cruising information, not news. Just a little bit of cruising information. What I've got together for you today is a list of all of the ships that Royal Caribbean currently has on the water. It's going to be a list of, I believe it's 29 ships. Going to give you a little bit of information about their bow length, meaning how long they are, how many decks they have, the year that they went into service, and the areas that you will normally find them in. So if you're looking to cruise in a particular area of the world, you may know this may be the ship that you will probably be on. So once again, it's almost all of the ships for Royal Caribbean. Just wanted to point out that in 1970 is when Royal Caribbean had their first ship on the water, and I will put it in the notes as to what the name of that very first ship was. But again, that was in 1970. So what we're going to cover is the ships from the oldest, beginning with the oldest ship, up to the most current ship, which I don't have too much information on, but it is in the works, which will be called the Hero. Not too sure about that name, the Hero of the Seas. So Royal Caribbean, all of their ships, Travels with Bob LLC. Remember to get out and hey, pay the people in the front row. Thank you. Get out and travel. Thank you. I'll be here all week. Thank you. Don't forget to tip your waitress on the way out. I know. Grandeur of the Seas, the oldest ship in the fleet, has a bow length of 915 feet. It has 12 decks. It is 78,000 gross tons. It has a capacity of 1,992 passengers. It operates usually in Mexico, went into service in 1996, and it is the smallest of the ship categories under the Vision class. Vision of the Seas has a bow length of 915 feet, has 12 decks, 78,000 gross tons, holds 2,050 passengers. It operates mostly anywhere it can go. It went into service in 1998, and it is again of the Vision class ship. Rhapsody of the Seas, bow length is 915 feet, 12 decks, 78,000 gross tons, passenger capacity is 1,998, operates in Caribbean and Europe, went into service in 1997, and is of the Vision class ships. Enchantment of the Seas has a bow length of 916 feet. It has 12 decks. It is 82,000 gross tons. Passenger capacity is 2,252. Operates in the Caribbean, went into service in 1997, and it is the fourth and final ship in the Vision class. Jewel of the Seas has a bow length of 961 feet. It has 13 decks. Gross tonnage is 90,000 gross tons. Passenger capacity is 2,112. It operates in the Caribbean, in Europe, went into service in 2004, and it is of the Radiance class ship. Brilliance of the Seas, bow length is 958 feet, 13 decks, 90,000 gross tons, passenger capacity of 2,142, operates in the Caribbean and Europe, went into service in 2002, and it is in the Radiance class of ships. Radiance of the Seas, bow length is 961 feet, it has 13 decks, 90,000 gross tons, passenger capacity of 2,143 people. It operates on Alaska, the Pacific, and Australia. Went into service in 2001,
and it is of the Radiance class ships. Serenade of the Seas has a bow length of 961 feet, 13 decks, 90,000 gross tons, passenger capacity of 2,146, operates in Europe, went into service in 2003, and is the last of the Radiance class ships. Adventure of the Seas, bow length is 1,020 feet. This has 14 decks, a gross tonnage of 138,000. Passenger capacity is 3,114. Operates in the Southern Caribbean and San Juan. It went into service in 2001, and it is of the Voyager class of ships. Voyager of the Seas has a bow length of 1,020 feet, has 14 decks, 138,000 gross tons, passenger capacity of 3,114, operates in Europe, Asia, and Australia. The ship went into service in 1999 and is part of the Voyager class ships. Explorer of the Seas has a bow length of 1,020 feet, has 14 decks, 138,000 gross tons, passenger capacity is 3,114 passengers, operates in the Caribbean and Europe, went into service in 2000, and is of the Voyager class ships. Mariner of the Seas has a bow length of 1,020 feet, has 15 decks, gross tonnage is 139,000 gross tons, passenger capacity 3,114, operates in the Caribbean, went into service in 2003, and is of the Voyager category class of ship. Navigator of the Seas has a bow length of 1,020 feet, has 15 decks, gross tonnage is 140,000 pounds, passenger capacity 3,376 passengers, operates in Mexico, went into service in 2002, and is the last of the Voyager class ships. Independence of the Seas has a bow length of 1,112 feet. It has 15 decks, 155,000 or 156,000 gross tons. Passenger capacity is 3,634 passengers, operates in the Caribbean and Europe, went into service in 2008, and is of the Freedom class ships. Liberty of the Seas has a bow length of 1,112 feet, 15 decks, 156,000 gross tons. Passenger capacity is 3,798. It operates in the Caribbean, went into service in 2007, and is of the Freedom class ships. Freedom of the Seas has a bow length of 1,111 feet, 15 decks, 156,000 gross tons. Passenger capacity is 3,782 people. It operates in the Bahamas and Caribbean. The ship went into service in 2006, and it's the last of the Freedom class ships. Odyssey of the Seas has a bow length of 1,138 feet. It has 16 decks. It is 168,000 gross tons. Passenger capacity is 4,200 people. It operates in the Caribbean, the Mediterranean, and Europe. The ship went into service in 2021, and it is one of the two of the Quantum Ultra class ships. Quantum of the Seas has a bow length of 1,141 feet, has 16 decks, 168,000 gross tons. Passenger capacity is 4,180. It operates in Asia, Alaska, and Australia. Ship went into service in 2014 and is the leader of the Quantum class of ships. Spectrum of the Seas has a bow length of 1,139 feet. It has 16 decks, operates at 169,000 gross tons. Passenger capacity is 4,246. She operates in Asia, went into service in 2019, and is the second of the Quantum Ultra category ship. Anthem of the Seas has a bow length of 1,139 feet. It has 16 decks, 168,000 gross tons. Passenger capacity is 4,180. This operates in Europe, England, and the Caribbean. This ship went into service in 2015 and is the last of the Quantum class ships. Ovation of the Seas has a bow length of 1,141 feet. It is 16 decks, 168,000 gross tons. Passenger capacity 4,180. It operates in Alaska, Australia, and Asia. Went into service in 2016 and is of the Quantum class of ships. Allure of the Seas has a bow length of 1,187 feet, has 18 decks. Gross tonnage is 225,000 gross tons. Passenger capacity is 5,492 passengers. It operates in the Caribbean and Europe. The ship went into service in 2010 and is under the Oasis class of ships. Oasis of the Seas has a bow length of 1,181 feet, has 18 decks. Gross tonnage is 226,000 gross tons. Passenger capacity is 5,400. It operates in the Caribbean and Europe. It went into service in 2009 and is under the Oasis class of ships. Harmony of the Seas has a bow length of 1,188 feet. It has 18 decks. The gross tonnage is 226,000 pounds. 5,497 passenger capacity. This operates in the Caribbean and Europe. Went into service in 2016 and is under the Oasis class of ships. Symphony of the Seas has a bow length of 1,184 feet. It has 18 decks, 228,000 gross tons. Passenger capacity of 5,518. It operates in the Caribbean and Mediterranean. The ship went into service in 2018 and it is under the Oasis class of ships. Wonder of the Seas has a bow length of 1,188 feet. It has 18 decks. Gross tonnage is 236,000 gross tons. Passenger capacity is 5,734. It operates in the Caribbean. Went into service in 2022 and is of the Oasis category of ships. Utopia of the Seas has a bow length of 1,188 feet, 18 decks, 236,000 gross tons. Passenger capacity of 5,668. Operates in the Bahamas. Went into service in 2024 and is the last of the Oasis class ships. Star of the Seas has a bow length of 1,196 feet. It has 20 decks. Gross tonnage is 248,000 pounds. 5,610 passenger capacity. It operates in the Caribbean. It went into service in 2025 and is of the Icon class of ships. Icon of the Seas has a bow length of 1,196 feet. It has 20 decks. Gross tonnage is 248,000 gross tons. Passenger capacity is 5,610. It operates in the Caribbean and Europe. Ship went into service in 2024 and it is of the Icon category of ship. Lastly, we have Legend of the Seas with a bow length of 1,196 feet, 20 decks, 248,000 gross tons. Passenger capacity of 5,610. It will operate in Alaska, Asia, and Australia. It goes into service later this year in 2026, and it is the third of the Icon class of ships.